Straight from New Jersey, it's the SNL Nerds, the show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out over Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, John Trumbull.
And I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
How you doing, Darren?
Doing okay. I think my feeling can be best expressed in song. In the summertime, when the weather is fine, you jump right up and touch the sky. In the summertime, why are you staring at me like that? 'Cause it's summertime. And the weather is fine. Jump right up, touch the sky.
You prepared that, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
If I had like a pitch whistle, I would have been better in tune.
Why do you have a gigantic afro right now?
Hey, it's the summertime. That's what happens.
Okay.
I get funky in the summer. Jeez. That song always kind of bugged me because there's that one line that says, like, if her daddy is rich, take her out for a meal. If her daddy's poor, then just do what you feel. I'm like, Jesus.
Wow.
You never noticed that?
Well, let's
You never
do that. No.
Listen to the song. There's a line that says that. Like, if her daddy is rich, take her out all fancy, like a macaroni grill or something.
Right.
If her daddy's poor, then, have your way with her. Stick it in. That, I swear, that's what they say in the song, and I don't agree with it. Why are you...
We're getting off to a weird start this week.
I'm just saying. I'm saying what I don't like.
I was expecting like a nice, pleasant conversation about an SNL movie.
All right. Well, I'm ready for that too.
With our summer movie marathon, and we launch right into the analysis of the lyrics to the song. Is that called "In the Summertime"? Is that the title of the song?
Mungo Cherry? No.
Mungo Jerry.
Mungo Cherry. What's that?
I think it's Mungo Jerry. They had a reference to them in Avengers Endgame.
Oh, did they?
They were talking about Tony Stark's goatee, and they were like, "Is it like Bee Gees goatee or Mungo Jerry goatee?"
Oh, that's right.
And
I didn't know.
Yvette Nicole Brown says Mungo Jerry goatee.
I didn't get it. I just thought Mungo Jerry is a funny word to say.
It is.
Mungo Jerry.
Are you looking up trivia about the song right now?
Yes.
You were. Oh, God damn it. Okay. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but we apparently have to get to the bottom of this before we can get to our movie this week, which is the 1995 film Stuart Saves His Family. But this is obviously more important. Okay. So let's find out all about In the Summertime by Mungo Jerry.
Oh, wow. That is quite a go-to. Yeah. And the singer... you got women on your mind, have a drink, have a drive, go out and see what you can find.
So he's endorsing drinking and driving.
Yeah.
And apparently date rape.
If her daddy is rich, take her out for a meal. If her daddy's poor, just do what you feel. Speed along the lane, do a turn, or return to the 25. What the fuck?
Well, the 25, I'm assuming, is a highway.
Oh, okay.
Or an interstate of some kind.
We're not bad people. We're not dirty. We're not mean.
I think you are bad people, Mungo Jerry.
We love everybody, but we do as we please.
This is... What year did this come out? Like 1970 something?
Yeah. This is... where's it? I'll find it. Hold on.
Okay.
But yeah, this is... 1970.
1970. That was... Here's you, 1970.
We've uncovered something here.
That's... Whew.
You are canceled, Mungo Jerry. You are canceled. Yeah, so Stuart Saves His Family.
Stuart Saves His Family. I mean, I was going to start off with a how you doing?
I'm good.
We actually hung out a little this week.
Yes, we did.
Between our shows, off air.
Yes, we do see each other when we're not recording.
We saw each other socially. We got together. We saw Taylor Tomlinson at Levity Live.
Yeah. She's a... For those who don't know, if you... Look up Taylor Tomlinson because she is...
Very funny stand-up comic.
She is a beast.
Yeah.
She's just punchlines and tags. She's energetic and lively on stage. I mean...
Clever material.
Very clever material. There were a ton of jokes. I was like, I wish I wrote that. That's really good.
Yeah.
So we're going to say right now, she's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
She's going to be a big deal.
And she is all of 25 years old. She's been doing stand-up since she was 16, I think.
Yeah, 16, 17. But yeah, she's already got the chops.
She's been on the Conan O'Brien show. She's toured with Conan on his comedy tours. And yeah, she's just amazing.
She's impressive. So
yeah, thumbs up for Taylor Tomlinson from the SNL Nerds.
That's right.
And then on the 3rd, we got together. We saw the new Marvel movie. We saw the Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, Spider-Man Far From Home. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Way up.
We both enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah. There was a certain scene that we won't get into that made Mr. Trumbull quite elated.
Very happy. It was as we know, the Marvel movies, they do the post-credits and the mid-credits thing, and there was a mid-credits thing where I saw a thing that made me very, very happy, and I lost all self-control, and I went, yes, and like pumped my fists in the air. And
it was like Rudy ran on the field or something like that.
I am not like a vocal person in the movies. I can stay quiet through the movie.
Exactly.
I'll occasionally laugh at something or cheer at something, but this one I just lost all filter and just went nuts. So much so that I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I did that." I lost my shit, and then I like immediately felt self-conscious.
You immediately retreated into shame.
Yes. And speaking of shame spirals,
here you go.
This week we are covering the 1995 film Stuart Saves His Family.
Yes,
featuring Al Franken.
Yes, came out April 12th, 1995. Written by Al Franken, directed by the late great Harold Ramis, the man who gave us Groundhog's Day, Caddyshack, and National Lampoon's Vacation. And this movie, it had a budget of about like $6 million, and it grossed about $900,000.
Yeah, $912,000.
$912,000. So this is like the second biggest bomb that of an SNL movie.
Second only to It's Pat the Movie, which we covered last week.
We talked about it, and we shan't mention it again. Because I don't want to think about that movie ever in my lifetime again.
Yep.
But I mean, this movie, I rewatched it, last night, and I'm gonna go.
Well, you watched it twice for this, or you had seen it before?
Let's talk about it. I've seen it. I saw it years and years ago, on maybe I forget when, but like years ago, I was bored at home and I decided, let me watch this, and I guess off the cuff, I think we'll probably touch on this a lot. This is a comedy, but it's not really it's not totally a comedy. There's a lot of drama in this. It's more of a dramedy than an actual straight up comedy, which I think a lot of people say is what hurt it. Because when you think of an SNL comedy, you think of some zany hijinks, madcap happenings. The lead characters saying their catchphrase over and over again. And this movie is not that. It's like a totally. It has like when you watch it, you see like, Al Franken was trying to do something more different, trying to do something more meaningful with something a little bit more depth than what people were expecting. But let's start at the beginning from that. So with the Stuart Smalley character, the Daily Affirmations, are you a fan of that when it came on SNL?
Not really, not in a big way.
Okay.
It was a sketch that they did a lot.
Yeah, like 17 times, I think.
My God, that's too many. I'm just going to say that right here. There's that's a lot. The character came out of Al Franken's own experiences with going to Al-Anon meetings.
Al-Anon movies?
Yes.
Wow.
This is probably the first Al-Anon movie. But no, he had started going to Al-Anon meetings. And so 12 Al-Anon, if you don't know, it's for families of alcoholics, family members.
Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yes. And he attended the meetings in support of his wife, Franny, who was battling alcoholism at the time. And so he got very versed in the 12-step programs and all that. And actually, I found a little information about the genesis of the Stuart Smalley character from the Live from New York book by James Andrew Miller and Tom Shales.
The Gospel.
Yes. This is on page 375 of my edition. Al Franken says, I originally wrote Stuart Smalley for Mike Myers, but when he did it in read-through, it didn't work because it was so specifically in my head and in my ear. And I think Robert Smigel, said I should do it, and I did it, and it worked. I felt while I was doing it that I had such a good reactions that I did another one. And then in the room between dress and air, that's when they decide what sketches they're due, I would, of course, demand that they cut other people's sketches so that Stuart could be in the show. One day when I was picking up tickets for the producers, the guy I got tickets from asked me, when are you going to do a Stuart sequel? And I said, well, the movie lost about $15 million, and I've discovered that when you lose money for a studio, they don't want to make a sequel.
Really?
Now, if that doesn't tell you what this business is about, I don't know what does. This is my standard answer. So,
so if you lose money, they don't give you another chance?
It's weird.
What?
It's weird. It's especially weird when you consider that Al Franken is a white man, so therefore he should be falling upward.
Exactly.
But
at this point, he should be directing and things like
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, he did become a senator.
Yeah, that's good too.
That's kind of falling upward.
Yeah, I guess that's fine.
I mean, there was a lot of distance between that, but
Yeah.
But so yeah, Stuart, as I say at the beginning of the sketch every week, he's not a licensed therapist, but he is a member of many fictional, sometimes fictional, self-help programs. Not limited to Overeaters Anonymous, Children of Alcoholic Parents Anonymous, and Children of Rageaholics Parents Anonymous.
Right. And on the show, and so on the sketch, they would have him either talking to the camera about like his, addiction and issues, and of course they'd have like a lot of catchphrases. He would have like, denial isn't just a river in Egypt.
Yes.
Or, that's just stinking thinking, or I'm in a shame spiral.
Yeah, there's a whole list of his catchphrases on the Wikipedia entry.
Right.
And yeah, it includes the ones you had. Yeah, you're shooting all over yourself.
Yes, I remember that one.
I am a worthy human being, and that's okay.
Yes.
Trace it, face it, and erase it. I don't remember him ever saying that.
I think I heard it once or twice.
I don't know what I'm doing. They're going to cancel the show. I'm going to die homeless and penniless and 20 pounds overweight, and no one will ever love me. That wasn't a catchphrase. That was just That was just me talking about the podcast.
Oh God.
You're only as sick as your secrets. Compare and despair. You need a checkup from the neck up. I'm a human being, not a human doing.
Wow.
Pee Wee Herman, there but for the grace of God go I. Yes, that was a masturbation joke.
Oh.
It's easier to put on slippers than to carpet the whole world, which I believe they said in the movie.
They did say that in the movie.
Labels disable.
Ooh.
I think about half of those are made up, but
I think they might be made up, but I could see them being used by like self-help gurus today, and people would be like, oh, that's really deep.
And we also have on the Wikipedia entry describing the character, he is an effeminate man with a perfectly coiffed bleach blonde hairdo who regularly wears a yellow button-down shirt with a powder blue cardigan.
Yep.
It is frequently hinted that Stuart may be gay, but his sexual orientation is never clearly stated. All his romantic partners have names which could be male or female, like Dale, Chris, or Merle. So there's a connection with last week's movie.
A little bit, yeah.
But
I mean, I think Stuart's a little bit more likable than that It's Pat movie.
Well, yeah.
That's not a high bar to climb.
No.
But yeah, I mean, as far as the sketch goes, like he would, and sometimes on his show on SNL, he would have like a guest on. There was a sketch with him and Michael Jordan.
That's probably the most famous one.
The most famous one. There was the other one with him and Charles Barkley and Muggsy Bogues.
I don't remember that one.
There was one where he had on Roseanne and Tom Arnold back when they were married at the time.
Yeah, she played his sister who suffered from battered wife syndrome. I'm laughing already.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, is there any more of a surefire comedy subject than battered wife syndrome?
I gotta watch that. I didn't see that. I gotta see how that played out, because that is a touchy subject.
We also had Macaulay Culkin playing his nephew, and Kiefer Sutherland as a Canadian relative, Leon Smalley, who had a show called Today's Meditation, which is a big hit in Canada.
Right. So, I mean, that's the basic gist of the sketch, just like him, like a self-help guru-ish type of person.
Right. And I'm just, I think, going to read a little more from Wikipedia here because it's a good overview of the history. It says, the character was popular enough to spawn a 1992 novel, I'm Good Enough, I'm Smart Enough, and Doggone It, People Like Me.
There was a book. They came out with a book with that.
Daily Affirmations with Stuart Smalley. The book keeps in line with the concept of the character and is presented tongue-in-cheek as a legitimate day-to-day affirmation book. Each page is dated, and the reader is supposed to follow through as if they were actually seeking help. Naturally, however, things go wrong in the writing process, and thus the affirmations branch off into Stuart's own commentary about what a hard time he is having writing it, etc. He also discusses his past relationship with ex-significant other Dale, the Rageaholic. There was also an audiobook released with the same title. The content of the audiobook was completely different from the printed one, but followed through on the same gag. The tapes played guided visualizations meant to help the listener relax and focus. However, Stuart makes a vow at the beginning not to make any edits or corrections in the recording process because, quote, I'm a perfectionist, and if I start making changes, I'll never stop. As such, it is full of humorous errors, including one gag in which Stuart tells his listeners who are driving to work to, quote, close their eyes and envision something. As such, there is a warning label on the box that says, do not listen while driving, a joke that doesn't make sense until one has actually listened to the tape.
Wow. What?
So apparently Harold Ramis saw the book and contacted Al Franken and said, this would make a good movie. We should work on this together.
So this movie is like pretty much Ramis's... not brainchild, but he's the one that's like, oh, there's something here. And I don't know.
Do you think there was something there?
I think, well, all right, so I'll say, it's like the first time I saw it, like I mentioned before, I was kind of taken aback. I'm sure like you had the same thought when you saw it for the first time.
This morning,
where you're like, oh, this isn't really a comedy, because they do tackle and they do talk about a lot of serious stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
And like there are times where it's very dramatic, like almost like an episode of This Is Us or something. And so like the first time I saw it, I wasn't crazy about it just because it wasn't what I was expecting. But I re-saw it again last night, and I think it's a little bit better than I might have given it credit for the first time around. I don't think it's a bad movie. It just wasn't what I was expecting.
I do.
Really?
I didn't think it was very good.
Really? Okay.
No. I mean, it was... My basic problem with it is, well, again, I don't think this is a character that is really suited to being blown up in a movie.
Okay.
I found it... In my notes I wrote, I found it kind of akin to like going to a family reunion, somebody else's family reunion, where you don't know anybody and they're telling all these stories about people you don't know and don't particularly care about.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of what the whole movie felt like to me. I just never was like, okay, why do I need to get behind this person and care about their problems?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I think that what he was trying to do was trying to like maybe connect to other people who maybe had the same issues as their family did.
Yeah,
so,
I think...
Well, here, let's just break down the movie.
Yeah.
All right, so in the movie starts... And it's Stuart. He's living in Chicago, and he has his show on public access television.
Okay, yeah, right there. What is with them making the SNL movies about characters who have public access TV shows?
I don't.
This is the third one we've had. We've had the two Wayne's World movies, and we've had this one. And it's Pat last week. She had she was on TV.
Oh yeah,
for a little bit, and I can't remember if that was a public access show or not.
I don't think so.
It was like America's Creepiest People, but...
I guess I figure public access, that's the easiest way to be like, get them on TV or something?
I don't know. It's a weird coincidence.
All right, I hear
Please go on.
But anyway, yeah, so he has a show, and it's on like at noon, but then he gets a word from top brass that it's going to get moved to like 2:45 a.m., and he's upset, and he badmouths the station manager, which causes the station manager to... fire him and take the show off completely.
Right.
And he gets totally bummed out. And he goes in a shame spiral eating Fig Newtons and Twinkies and the like. And he has like a good scene because there's this one scene after he gets fired where he's talking to Jersey's own Laura San Giacomo.
Yeah, Laura San Giacomo.
Yeah. Born in West Orange, raised in Denville, I believe.
And cousin of my best friend.
Hey, really? All right. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Yes.
So this one scene I kind of like where he's talking to Laura San Giacomo in a restaurant. He has on a tie, and there's they're just talking out his issues with the show. And then there's this like couple at the table next to them, like angrily staring at them. And then he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll be right back." And he gets up, and you see he has like apron on. And he's like, "Oh, he works there."
Yeah, as a waiter.
Yeah, and that's the little joke. But
that was cute.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, it
wasn't funny. It was cute.
Yeah, it's cute. I'll give you that. So he's very dejected, and then he gets a call from his sister back home in Minnesota saying, "You need to come back home. Aunt Paula died." So he goes back home, and he talks about his family, how they're very kind of like a toxic, destructive type of family. He has a brother, Donnie, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, who's a drunk and a pothead. Who still lives at home with his parents. His father is a alcoholic and has been his whole life. His mother,
played by Harris Yulin, the great character actor. You probably remember him. He was the judge in Ghostbusters 2.
That's how I know him. The Scoleri brothers.
He's also in a very famous episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Duet. He's playing a Cardassian war criminal.
Not Kardashian?
No.
Okay.
The aliens on Deep Space Nine were called the Cardassians.
It's a little too close.
Well, they did it before the Kardashians were famous.
Okay,
So,
well, all right.
I mean, really, the Kardashians should have been the ones that changed their name.
All right. And and his mom is sort of I guess like an enabler, and she's like passive aggressive about a few things, and his sister is 3 times married. She's divorced with a kid, and
She's got a bad back.
She has a bad back.
They have a thing at the aunt's funeral where you see the aunt in the casket, and then the camera pans down, and then his sister is lying on the floor because her back went out.
Yeah, very much so.
And we had SCTV's Joe Flattery as Cousin Roy.
Yeah.
Who he wants the last grave in the family plot, and there's this big conflict about...
Yeah, like who's going to get the plot.
Yeah.
And also, next to Joe Flaherty, Robin Duke as Cousin Denise, and she literally had no lines during this whole movie.
Oh, that's why I didn't really especially notice her.
Yeah, no, she didn't say... It's so weird. She didn't say anything throughout the movie. I was just like, oh, is that Robin Duke?
Robin Duke, if you don't know, she was also an ex-SNL cast member. She was part of the infamous 1980 cast that came in right after the original cast.
Right. She was there like around the same time Mary Gross and Eddie Murphy and Piscopo, I believe.
And... Did she stick around for that long? I don't know. I'd have to look. This is more than I was expecting to discuss Robin Duke.
Oh, boy. All right.
But...
all right, but yeah. So they're upset about, fighting over this one last grave plot. So when they go to bury Aunt Paula, they're met with Cousin Ray and Cousin Denise, Joe Flaherty, and Robin Duke with the cops saying that they can't bury Aunt Paula there because like they have like a deed or not a deed.
I mean, it's this whole thing, and it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, this plot line doesn't go in, but I did
and then they start another plot line where the family starts fighting over Aunt Paula's house because she left the house to the family.
Right.
And the house overlaps their neighbor's property by 2 feet, and there's an easement clause because they have to shell out the money to the neighbor because the house overlaps the property by 2 feet, and then the neighbor is at first demanding $3,000, which the family can't afford. Stuart goes to talk to him, and then the amount increases to $10,000. And this is the plot of the movie.
Yeah,
I am not making this up.
It goes. But like it's so the first time when they're having to fight over the plot, the cops are there, and then of course Stuart's dad is drunk and he takes a swing at the cop, and him and his brother get arrested. So he had enough of them, so he goes back home to Chicago. And then his sister calls back saying, "Oh, Donnie's suing me over Aunt Paula's will." So he has to go back to his family, and that's when the easement thing goes on.
It's so convoluted.
It's a little bit, yeah.
And it's like what I was saying. It feels like you're hearing about somebody else's not especially interesting problems for the entire movie.
Interesting. All right.
And then there's a dilemma at one point where like the family and the family's lawyer, they all want Stuart to lie on the witness stand during the whole trial,
right?
Because Stuart, when the increase the amount of the easement, that was a private conversation between Stuart and the neighbor, and then the neighbor dies, and then they're like, "Oh, well, because there were no witnesses to this conversation,
it's your conversation never happened.
It's your word against a dead man." So Stuart's family is maintaining, the conversation never happened. And then Stuart is very conflicted because he's supposed to tell the truth on the stand, and then he tells the truth on the stand. Then his family hates him. And
and so
are you interested in this?
So then
I'm bored just summarizing it right now.
It's a lot of drama with him and his family. So then he goes back home goes back to Chicago, and he tries to get his career, his TV career.
And this, by the way, throughout the movie, it's interspersed with flashbacks to Stuart's childhood, just telling you how dysfunctional his family is, and tales of his dad being a drunk but there was a few times where he was kind of proud of his dad. There was that one scene where him and his brother were playing football, and the football went over to the neighbor's house, and the neighbor was like, "Oh, I'm taking your football now. Get out of here, kid." Yeah. And they told his dad, and his dad came in like a macho man and was like, "Oh, maybe you like to pick on someone with pubic hair." And then the guy gave him the football back, and like at that time, I was proud of my dad for like sticking up for me. Yeah. So like there were happy times, but at the same time, are you ready to laugh?
It's a lot.
Are you ready to laugh?
The movie is, I'll admit, it's not like laugh out loud, but it's like a lot of, that's interesting. I think the thing with this movie is like there's a lot of, I think Al Franken was trying to get out a lot of his
Yeah, I
there's
think
a lot of personal stuff that Al
yeah,
Franken
and
that he put in.
I think he was just too close to the subject matter. He wasn't able to like step back enough to make it a funny thing. It was more it was more important to him. Like I have to make this grand statement, and I'm not saying that you can't make statements in comedy. Like Harold Ramis, he directed another comedy around the same time that makes a big statement, Groundhog Day.
Oh, right.
And I mean that where Bill Murray's living literally the same 24 hours over and over and over, and that movie has, I mean, people have likened that movie to like Buddhism and all that, and how it's like how that is so much of life, like people dealing with the monotony of doing the same thing day after day after day, and how you find like those little moments of meaning in it. But Groundhog Day is also a very funny comedy.
It is. It's always interesting with that movie because like they never explain why he kept living the same day over and over again. Like,
no, and you didn't need to.
Like there was just some magic voodoo thing that happened, or
yeah, they had that stuff in earlier drafts, and then they got rid of it because they realized they didn't need it. It doesn't matter why he's living the same day over and over.
Yeah, I know.
The point is that he is.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that like don't go with it.
Yeah, you don't.
It's like the magic car in the Blues Brothers. Yeah, it's just a magic car.
You get that stuff out of the way as quickly as possible. Like in Big, it's like, oh, how does Tom Hanks become an adult?
Because Zoltar.
He makes a wish on a Zoltar machine. That's all you need.
He went to the Jersey Shore, put in a quarter.
You get that stuff out of the way quickly, and then you get on to why the people plunk down their money.
Yeah, interesting.
And yeah, but I mean the Stuart movie, it goes into all this family history that you don't. You're trying to get all the relationships straight, and it just doesn't really work. I mean,
the main takeaway was just his family is screwed up, and he's trying to make them better, which is a lot because they've been screwed up for years. You can't fix something that's been screwed up for years overnight.
And the end of the movie is basically Stuart kind of throwing up his hands and being like, "Oh, I can't really fix this, and it's not really my place to fix this." And he gives up, and he at the end he tells his family, "Yeah, I'm not going to be home for Christmas."
Yeah, I mean, well, basically, we'll fast forward a little bit. Like towards the end of the movie, what happens is. But he does fix it a little bit.
A little bit. There's marginal improvement, which I guess is supposed to be the big takeaway from the movie, is you can't fix everything, but maybe you can improve things a little bit. And
right, because I mean, after the last time, after Stuart tells the truth in court that oh yeah, no, he had this conversation with me, I'm not going to lie. And then his family hates him. Then he goes back to Chicago. Then after that, his sister calls him back again, saying, "Dad shot Donnie because they were on a hunting trip. They were drunk."
And the father gets really drunk and accidentally shoots the brother.
Exactly. But through that, the brother, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, he realizes, oh, wait, I think this was like a wake-up call. I got to stop drinking and smoking pot all the time.
Yeah, and then after Stuart says, I'm not going to be back for Christmas, and we have the thing where Donnie...
Donnie meets
surprises,
him. Donnie surprises him in Chicago.
Right.
Showing that, I want to be part of your life and be a better brother, and I'm trying to get better.
Right.
And I believe that is progress, not perfection. Which is something else they said. So that's the little help.
This movie sure isn't perfection, let me tell you.
Damn, homie. So after he gets shot, the family all wants to get help for their dad. They want to, so they have an intervention for him, and it's pretty serious. It's not really. It's not funny at all.
It's a straight up intervention.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, they play it very, very real too, and and it ends very realistically, where the dad was like, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna keep drinking, and then I think the guy they have, the mediator who mediates the intervention, has a letter saying, "Well, I just got this letter from the court saying if you don't quit drinking, you're gonna go to jail for shooting your son." And then he said, "Well, whatever, I'll just go to jail."
Yeah,
and it ends on that note. It's a very the movie. It's not what a lot of people would expect it. You said, it might be. It's very close and very personal to Al Franken's thing. And I mean, I do see what you're saying. Like he might have been so gung ho about making it so real and close to the bone for his life. He may have forgotten to sort of lighten it up and put a little levity in it.
Yeah. I found an interesting article from Vanity Fair that was done on the 20th anniversary of the movie. So this was done in 2005? 2005.
Yeah, right.
Would be... No, 2015. Sorry.
Ooh.
That's... I wasn't doing the math right. And that's okay. Where they're talking about it, they talked to Al Franken and the producer, Trevor Albert, who co-produced the movie. He says the audiences who would have liked it, they thought it was a Saturday Night Live movie, so they weren't interested. It looked superficial, like it wasn't going to have any resonance for them. And the Coneheads audience was not interested.
Right.
And, I mean, tough movie to market.
It is, yeah. I mean, I thought it would be like a SNL, like I said before. I thought it'd be like a regular SNL movie, catchphrases, zany happenings.
Right.
And it ain't that.
And there are hints of that. I mean, there's a flashback to when Stuart is first explaining about his family. He talks about how a lot of the male relatives in his family have died young.
Yeah, because they get drunk and fall off of roofs while changing the storm windows.
Right. And so there's a quick montage where you see two male relatives fall off ladders and fall off the roof. And then there's a third one who's actually electrocuted when he gets drunk and starts trimming the trees around the roof.
Yeah, and then he hits a power wire.
And he gets electrocuted. And it's a very broad, very cartoony sort of thing. And I thought that worked. And there's another gag towards the end of the movie, which is another flashback to Stuart's childhood, where they're in Hollywood.
Oh, right.
And his dad is drunk and oversleeps, and then they have like an hour to do Hollywood before
they got to catch their plane.
Right. And then they're literally like 5 minutes away. They have to catch their plane in 5 minutes, but he wants to get a shot of his family in front of the Hollywood sign.
Right.
And he gets the kids to like go around the middle of the road so they can get the Hollywood sign in the picture, but it's by a blind curve, and then cars keep coming in the road.
Right.
And then Stuart gets hit by a car, and he has a photograph of him like flying in the air with
the Hollywood sign,
with the Hollywood sign back. And that I thought was funny. That was very broad. I think it would have been funnier if we just saw the picture and we didn't see the whole extensive flashback leading up to it.
Yeah, the flashback was a little long. They could have
but it was a funny sight gag, and I feel like if the movie had gone a little broader, it would have worked better. If like they'd been having interventions over more trivial things, or if there was more of that cartoony type of humor, then I think it could have worked.
Okay.
But as it is, I don't think it really worked.
All right. But yeah, I mean, I will admit there are a lot more somber moments in it than I get. Like another moment they had is when Stuart talks to his friend Laura San Giacomo. I think her name is Julie, and then she talks about her family, and she's telling the story. Her that?
Yeah.
Well, basically,
it's weird.
It's a weird moment because she's telling the story about her family, why she doesn't talk to them. Apparently, her character, Laura San Giacomo's character, was the product of an affair her mother had, and she seeks out her birth father. Yeah, and because the father that she grew up with, she knew that wasn't his kid, so he was very physically abusive to her. And as the years go on, she went out to seek out her birth father. Yeah, and he finds her birth father. They meet and have a nice dinner, and he feels. She feels very connected to him, and at the end of it, like he makes a pass at her. Yeah, he hits on her. Yeah, and that's his biological daughter. Yeah, and this isn't a scene we see. This is just something we hear about, right? And it's never commented on before or after. Yeah, it's just a story that Laura San Giacomo's character tells. Yeah, of her being hit on by her birth father. Yeah, and it's just this weird. It's weird. And then Stuart tries to comfort her, saying, well, you just have to realize you never had a father figure in your life. And right. And then he's like, I'll be your father figure. If you'll be my mother figure. Yeah. And it's just like them kind of comforting each other. And Stuart at one point, he's in a depression. He's like staying in bed for 6 days. And then Julia, Laura San Giacomo's character, and then like 3 of his sponsors from the various groups. Oh, yeah. He has numerous sponsors. Yeah. But it's just like 3. I mean, it would have been funnier if they'd exaggerated that more and had like 20 come over or something. I could see that because like Stuart's in so many groups. I mean, I think having 3-4 sponsors is pretty. That's not that funny. I mean, it's possible to have that many, right? Yeah. I mean, it's not an exaggerated enough number to be funny. And I feel like if they'd gone a little further with some of this, it would have been funnier. And they still could have made the points that they made. Right. But it just would have been more couched in the comedy, and I think people would have been more receptive to what he's trying to say. Because when you're watching a comedy, your guard is down, right? And you can like receive messages or morals or whatever you want to call it, right? Like you're instead of being preachy, you put your message in the jokes. Yeah, I feel like
this was just a little too touchy-feely to be a good comedy or to be that good of a movie.
Yeah, I think that's it. It was, like I said, it was more of a dramedy than an actual comedy.
Yeah, and they say, like, they were talking in this Vanity Fair article I was talking about before. They were saying they sold it wrong because, of course, Paramount marketed it like it was an SNL movie. Like, here's this wacky character from the TV.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at a trailer, it looks like a wacky SNL movie.
Right.
If you look at the movie poster, it's a wacky
Right,
SNL
he's like holding up the world on his shoulders, literally.
Yeah,
and with a badly photoshopped head on it.
And oh, wow. Photoshop skills shot you're taking.
Yep, Photoshop shots fired.
Photoshop's fired. There it is. There it is. See, we talked it out. See? That's comedy. That's how comedy works.
But Trevor Albert, the co-producer, he says, he says we should have been advertising at Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. Al Franken says, he points out that Mr. Holland's Opus was first shown to people who would appreciate it the most, music teachers. He says there's a lot of people in recovery, a lot of organizations that are tied to recovery, and I think if they'd seen the movie first, it might not have had that rookie soldier in an ambush thing. He says this was not in Paramount's wheelhouse. I'm not quite sure they knew how to sell this movie at all, frankly. He says everybody at Paramount was very supportive. Sherry Lansing, then the studio's CEO, was extremely nice. I was treated extremely well. No one wasn't nice. I just don't think they quite knew what to do. Which, I
could see that.
Hard movie to sell.
Yeah, I mean, I think in these days and times, they'll probably be able to do a little bit more because I think when it came out, there weren't too many. I'm trying to think if there were that many like dramedies or something, like stuff that kind of blended between the genres, like between comedy and drama. I mean, there's tons of that now, especially like on cable and streaming and stuff. But I don't know back then if that was as common a thing.
Yeah. And like another factor they make the point of is this is when Saturday Night Live, the show itself, was in a slump. This came out during right before they fired pretty much all the cast.
Yeah.
And Lorne Michaels brought in the cast. This is like the last big house cleaning that Lorne did.
Right.
This was right before he brought in where he fired
Ferrell and
he brought in Will Ferrell, Sherry O'Terry, Daryl Hammond, and those guys, and he let go a lot of the old guard like Adam Sandler and Chris Rock and like when Sandler just hosted this past season,
he said he was fired.
I was fired. Yeah. And I mean, because the show just was not working.
No, I remember those days. I mean,
current form.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably talk about it later, but like the sketch where Stuart talks about the opening and the bomb of the movie.
Yeah, let's talk about that now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was during the episode of the Bob Saget episode with the musical guest TLC, which, if you haven't seen it, it's a terrible like there were sketches in that
really episode. Because Bob Saget and TLC have done so much other great work together. I'm surprised that surefire combo
they're the comedy
didn't
team.
Work its usual magic on Saturday Night Live.
They're the comedy team of our generation, people.
I mean, because you read the oral histories of TLC, you find out how much Bob Saget contributed. I mean, he co-wrote Waterfalls. Not a lot of people know that.
He did. He went chasing him.
Him and Left Eye. I mean, they were just joined at the hip in the mid '90s.
Joined up the eyes. Eye hips.
That's right.
That doesn't make any sense. But yeah,
you know what Bob Saget's nickname was?
What?
Right Eye.
Oh,
yeah. Left Eye Lopez, Right Eye Saget. That's what they called him.
I did not know that.
All right.
Well,
all right. I'm done with my Bob Saget TLC.
Yeah, well, that's quite a riff you went there, fella. But yeah. So terrible episode, and at the end of that episode, there was Stuart Smalley's sketch where it gets very meta because he talks about how he's very the sketch opens, he's very depressed, eating Milano cookies from Petridge Farm, and he talks about how he has a movie out and no one went to see it,
right? Because they were busy seeing Bad Boys and Dumb and Dumber. And
he mentions movies that are
by name.
Yeah, I mean the one movie he mentioned is because that came out at the same time is Jury Duty with Pauly Shore.
Sure,
a movie that did better than his movie.
Outgrossed by Pauly Shore.
He got outgrossed by Pauly Shore.
That's got to sting.
Yikes.
It's got to sting.
And then it's like, oh, no, I'm sure, Pauly Shore is fine for what he does, and I'm sure you went to the movie theater. And we're like, I could see either Pauly Shore or, Stuart Smalley, but I'm a complete jackass, so I'm going to go see Pauly Shore. And it's a sketch where he, just verbally attacks the audience for being dumb and stupid and not seeing his movie, but then apologizing immediately. But I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm in a shame spiral.
Yeah.
And like you just know that's a lot.
It's coming from a real place.
That's coming from a real.
I mean, Stuart came from a real place, and this sketch really came from a real place.
That was some like I remember seeing the sketch back in the day, and I was like, oh no, that's Al Franken talking.
That's Al Franken shade right there.
Yeah, like he would say, like, oh, I'm sure you would have seen my movie, but you were probably too busy getting drunk and beating your kids and cheating on your wife to see my movie. Like,
if you don't like my movie, you probably beat your children.
He said that. I mean, it got laughs.
And this was like the last Stuart sketch for like years, I think, until Al, because like Al Franken was one of the people who left the show after this.
Yeah, and then of course he says I'm sorry, and then he gets like some cookies, like, oh, these are called Pepperidge Farm, these are chessmen. I eat them, but you guys can stick them up your ass. I'm like, God damn.
Yep.
He's cleaning house tonight. All debts are paid.
And Franken, he said he actually went into a depression after this movie failed. He mentioned it in his 2003 book, Oh, the Things I Know, A Guide to Success, Happiness, or Failing That. Or A Guide to Success or Failing That Happiness. And he said in a 1999 appearance on the Howard Stern Show that he was very proud of the movie. So,
right.
and apparently they do show this movie in recovery programs.
Yeah, so
because it does help convey some of the concepts that they have in the recovery programs, and I guess it's so. I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean,
if it probably has legitimately helped some people.
Yeah, I mean, it did get some good. Like he said in the sketch, Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up, and it's gotten it has gotten positive reviews. And I understand the depression too, because it's like you share something that's very personal to you, and when people reject it. You know, that can be very
that stings. Like absolutely
to bring it to our again to Weezer, as we've done on the podcast when he came out that album Pinkerton. It was very personal to him, and when, at the time when it came out, it didn't do well. People were like, "What is this?" They wanted some catchy Buddy Holly stuff.
They wanted the Blue Album again.
And this wasn't it. And so when it came out, Rivers Cuomo went to a super depressed spiral after that.
Right.
Shame spiral.
Yeah, shame spiral.
Yeah, I mean, people love Pinkerton now. They say it's great, but back then it was
been rediscovered.
Yeah,
this movie has not really, outside of I think the 12-step community.
Right, not really.
You mentioned Siskel and Ebert. I have as you said, they both gave a film thumbs up. Siskel called it smart and hip. And
I don't know about hip.
I mean, no. Well, Gene Siskel says it's hip. It's hip. He was right there with Bob Saget and Left Eye.
You see the way he dresses? I mean, when he dressed, rest in peace.
I mean, come on, those elbow patches on the blazers.
Oh my God, it's like
Gene Siskel knew hip.
It's like
okay,
it's like he was like MTV VJ.
I will not have you besmirch the memory of Gene Siskel. He was hip.
I'm hip. I'm with it. Oh, you caught that.
And Roger Ebert said it has more courage than a lot of serious films. So, I mean, they did both like it. I think they probably both liked that it was a comedy with something to say.
Yeah, and I guess we should mention this, too. Another person who appears in this movie, Julia Sweeney.
Yes.
From straight from It's Pat into Stuart Saves His Family. And she plays like a character who's like she's like a receptionist to the station manager.
Right. And the station manager of the public access station that Daily Affirmations is on, bless you.
Excuse
me. She does not like Stuart's show. And she actually says at one point early in the movie, a Holocaust survivor wrote in and actually prefers our Skinhead Hour to your show.
Damn.
Yeah, which is... that's harsh. By the way, his show producer is played by the same actress who, again, has a Star Trek connection. She was Kai Opaka on Deep Space Nine.
You got a lot of Star Trek stuff.
Yeah. This is. I recognized her. I was like, hey, it's Kai Opaka. It's. I just made a bunch of Trekkies happy, Darren.
All right. Hey, wherever our audience is, we'll give them what they want.
Yeah. No, that was for you, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
But speaking of Julia Sweeney, there is something on the Stuart Saves His Family IMDb trivia page about that. I'm going to read the entire Stuart Saves His Family trivia.
Okay.
Julia Sweeney's character, Mia C., says sorry in this film 17 times.
Yeah. She plays like a very meek character. It's like, oh, I'm sorry.
That is the entire trivia page for Stuart Saves His Family.
Oh.
Julia Sweeney's character, Mia C., says sorry in this film 17 times.
Can't wait to drop that at the next party, huh?
It's there's not a lot of trivia about this movie, is what I'm saying.
Guys, if you have a cocktail party to attend, Just remember that's
Hey, do you know what movie Julia Sweeney says sorry 17 times in? I do.
Ladies. So yeah, and that's pretty much the movie. So Stuart goes on to take his show from cable access to a healthcare network, and it becomes a big hit there. Yep. And he at the end he has his TV show. He's able to make a career off that. He's not able to fix his family like he thought, but his brother is looking to get better and help. So in a way, he kind of did, which is incremental progress, which is all any of us can do, and that's pretty much the end of it. I thought I don't know. I still think it. I still think it was a little bit better than it was the first time I saw it. I appreciate what
it's definitely better than It's Pat.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, most things in life are better than It's Pat.
Root canal is better than It's Pat.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate what Al Franken was trying to do. He's trying to sort of do something bigger and put out a bigger idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, I do understand it's a SNL sketch. When it's an SNL movie, when people go to see an SNL movie, they have certain expectations. They want, this, and this. It might have been bigger.
I mean, particularly by this point in time, because the SNL movies, they were a brand.
Yeah, very much so. And this wasn't on brand with Coneheads and all the other movies.
No.
It's like, you're giving somebody a filet mignon when all they want is like a cheeseburger.
This movie was a filet mignon?
Maybe a filet. Sizzler? Sizzler steak?
This is beef steak Charlie's.
Oh, that's fancy. But yeah, so I think that was that. I think it had loftier goals than what people were expecting, and people just weren't into it, so they just went to see Bad Boys and Jury Duty. Which, I don't know. I guess this movie is kind of hit and miss depending on who you are and what you're willing to watch.
Yeah.
There you go.
I would not watch it again, personally.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, I wasn't actively angry at the end of it, but I was checking the time.
Okay. It's fine, man. Hey, man, that's okay.
I did a little web surfing towards the end.
Okay.
But actually, we did ask on the Twitter page at SNL Nerd Show. Darren posted this morning. He says, if you have any questions, comments, or bizarre ramblings about the movie, tweet at us now. And then you posted a link to that sketch that we were talking about.
Yeah, check it out. It's definitely it is real.
Yeah. So
it got real.
Watch that. And we got a response from Bugs Moran, who's at Kevin Moran 44.
Hey, Bugs.
And for this trivia, it just says, Sarah Silverman once stabbed Al Franken in the head with a pencil in the SNL writer's room.
Jesus Christ, what?
and
is that true?
And yes, it is. And I responded, I'm watching the movie now. Good.
Whoa.
I did. So I did a Google search on Sarah Silverman, Al Franken pencil, and I found apparently she talked about this story when she was on Late Night with Seth Meyers in 2014, and so it isn't as bad as it sounds.
It sounds like she's trying to commit a homicide.
It does. It does sound homicidal, and you know that the SNL writers' room is a very high stress situation. Yes. So maybe she, went to, I'm going to stab Al Franken. This is not quite what happened.
They were just playing.
Well, yeah. This is. She said. It says here, with Franken having grown out his Jew fro out for the winter. Silverman likewise grew fascinated with the relative plushness of her fellow writer's hair, so naturally she wanted to poke it with a pencil. The only problem was that apparently Silverman is the least coordinated person in the history of the world. Instead of running the pencil through one side of Franken's hair and out the other, she missed by several inches and ended up stabbing him in the side of the head. The only thing better than Silverman's seeming lack of remorse, she said she was, quote, crying from laughing, was the future senator's priceless reaction as he screamed only the word, "Why?"
Oh, my God.
So
she laughed while he's bleeding?
I don't know if, she actually drew blood. The story I found does not say that, and I can't access the
She drew
the
first
clip.
blood.
She drew first blood, not me. But that's an important safety tip. When you're checking the plushness of someone's Jew fro, or just, any froze in general, I will say, eraser end of the pencil.
Yeah.
Because you can still get a good idea from that, and you won't bore pencil lead into somebody's brain.
Or just maybe a pen with the cap on it.
Yeah.
How about that?
I mean, that's still a little pokey, but
yeah, it's still a little pokey, but you're not going to like stab them through the cranium.
Yeah, and you don't want to be stabbing any future senators.
Yeah,
in the head.
That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
senators they have pull. They can do things. You can
or not do things.
You can face tax evasion.
Yeah. So that's a funny story. Senator Silverman accidentally stabbed Al Franken in the head with a pencil.
Woof.
So.
Wow, and she just laughed while he bled out.
Yeah, I guess so.
She carelessly cut him.
That does sound, especially if the pencil stayed there. That's funny.
Yeah.
If the pencil stayed there, embedded in his head, that would be really funny. I would probably crack up at that.
Oh boy!
Especially, I mean, you start out with Al Franken with a big Jufro.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there, the recipe for comedy.
Yeah, that hair was magnificent.
But so we found out about that.
I don't think did we get much.
There was another thing that came up on the Twitter page this week. This was somebody who was commenting last week on our It's Pat show, and she directly tagged me in this. This is from Monette Moratti. I'm saying she. Yes, it is a woman. Okay. And she's at Monette M97. And it says, at Trumbull Comic, your dislike of the Californians and Stuart Smalley has led me to the fan theory that your dislike of the sketches is based on the fact that you just hate the name Stuart, which appears in both sketches. Can you confirm my theory? So...
Are you a Stuart hater?
I like that Monette noticed this connection, and then she just assumed that I have some deep dark past in my deep dark secret in my past that some Stuart has done me wrong.
Had the Stuart wronged you in the past, which caused you to hate any and all Stuarts?
Like a Stuart that had just killed my puppy as a kid, or stole a girlfriend or something.
It's like you don't like Jon Stewart, you hate.
I love Jon Stewart.
Oh, okay.
And so I replied, interesting theory, but no, I didn't even remember that the name Stuart was used in the Californians.
I forgot. I blocked everything about it.
Well, because honestly, I mean, the Californians, usually when I saw it was on and I was watching a recording, I would just fast forward through it because I knew I fucking hated that sketch.
Yeah, no, good way. That's a good way to do it.
No, I did not retain the names of any of the characters there.
So, and for the record, I don't hate Stuarts either. Stewarts. No. I'm cool with
Stuart. We are pro Stewarts.
Yes,
here at the SNL Nerds.
You know, some of my best friends are Stewarts. My sister dated a Stewart. He was a cool guy. I was fine with it.
Yeah.
So Stewart, we're A-okay with Stewarts.
Yeah, Stuart Copeland from The Police.
Yeah.
Like him.
Stewart something or other. Stewart
combo breaker.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But no,
Stuart Pankin? There we go.
Too late. Too late.
Apologies to Stuart
Mandy
Pankin.
Patinkin, we like him.
Yeah, he's great.
But no, I thought that was a very interesting theory, but no, I just didn't find the Californians funny.
Stuart Little? There it is.
Stop it. I now hate the name Darren.
Oh!
But no, I didn't find the Californians funny.
Bobby Darin.
And there's really nothing more to it than that. Daily Affirmations, I only found sporadically funny.
Oh, okay.
The Michael Jordan sketch I think is great.
Right,
that was very funny. I wish there'd been more in that direction. It was funny where he had really famous people on his show and he had no idea who they were.
Right.
And he's like trying to preserve their anonymity. But Daily Affirmations, it's a sketch I got sick of. So I was not looking forward to watching this movie, and it didn't, I wouldn't say it exceeded my expectations. It wasn't.
All right.
But I did find it very exciting that our podcast has apparently spawned its first fan theory. So I thought that was cool.
We welcome any and all fan theories or just any attention at all to our podcast.
Yes, I want to hear more fan theories.
Yeah, what else do you think?
If you have... maybe we'll discover something about ourselves. Maybe, this is an opportunity for growth.
Yeah, we can learn and grow and whatnot.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. We'll either debunk them or be startled by them and maybe a little horrified.
Yeah. But if nothing else, it'll be fun to debunk them.
Yes, absolutely. We love to debunk.
So, but yeah, please let us know what you think. Please contact us on Twitter at SNL Nerd Show.
Right.
And you can also rate and review us over on the iTunes or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
I just found out a week ago we're on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah. You already knew that?
Well, I mean,
why am I the less to know?
Our producer Frank Kablawi told us that we're like on all the major podcast outlets. So yeah, I'm not a big Spotify person, but
okay,
yeah,
40 episodes.
Do we have reviews on Spotify? Should we go on?
I don't even know.
See?
Maybe.
Where the hell do I have Spotify on my phone?
For the love of Pete.
I
don't.
Well, you brought it up, dude.
Well, yeah, I didn't know we were going to do this right now.
Well, okay, all right. Here's the Spotify app.
Okay,
we are going.
But yeah, and we're also on Stitcher and on our website non-productive.com. And please donate to our Patreon. Give us some money. Help us keep the lights on in this plush palatial studio we're in. And if you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Darren Credible, DARIN Credible, and I got a website too, DarrenCredible.com.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Trumbull Comic. As I said before, when I was reading Manette's nice note, I'm looking through. I'm just seeing on Spotify. I'm just seeing a list of our episodes. I don't know if they have reviews.
I don't think. Can you put reviews on Spotify?
I have no idea.
Okay,
I have no idea. But I looked and I'm not finding anything immediately, so I'm going to say no.
All right.
I'm going to say no. So that's it.
But if you can put reviews on Spotify, put it up and then tell us how to find it once you put it up.
Yes. I mean, just send a review out there into the ether.
Yeah.
And
just put it out there.
Open up your window and just shout it out like you're listening to Howard Beale and Network.
Ooh, deep cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put a message in a bottle and throw it in the ocean. We'll get it.
Yeah, that's right. Just yell things at us when you see us out in public.
Smoke signals, carrier pigeons. God damn, what was that?
I don't know. You were trying to say carrier pigeons.
I was trying to say carrier pigeons.
And then you went into carrion. Which is like...
I might have had a stroke, guys.
Yeah,
Sorry
I think you
that.
did. Okay,
wow.
We're going to get Darren some medical attention.
It's so hot. It's summer.
And we're going to return. We have some more SNL movies to cover.
I need to lie down.
And next week we have the next SNL movie in chronological order is we are going to cover Blues Brothers 2000.
Yeah.
The 1998 sequel to 1980's Blues Brothers.
Yes. Finally.
Featuring Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi.
Wait, no, he's not in it. Is he?
Oh, that's right. Jim Belushi is not in it.
John Goodman's in it.
I am also having a stroke.
We're stroking out as we talk.
We are stroking out.
We're melting.
We are stroking out. That's right. Blues Brothers 2000 did not star Jim Belushi.
No.
Apparently, Jim Belushi was given the opportunity to star in Blues Brothers 2000, and he was like, no, I'm good.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
I think so. So, yeah, Dan Aykroyd, John Goodman...
Joe Morton's in it.
Joe Morton, and then there's the little kid, and...
a lot of musical guests. James Brown's in it. I think B.B. King's in it.
Aretha Franklin returns. Paul Schaefer is in this one.
Yeah, Erykah Badu, and Eric Clapton. He's in it.
Oh, really?
Clapton's in it.
Oh, all right.
There you go.
Okay, well...
Yeah, now you're
Now
excited.
I'm slightly more eager to watch Blues Brothers 2000.
There you go. Interest has peaked.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And we'll shortly dip again after.
Good evening and good night.
So that's going to be next week on the SNL Nerds. You want to hear what we think about Blues Brothers 2000, right? You want to hear what other stupid mistakes I make, like saying Jim Belushi was in the movie when he wasn't?
Yes, tune in for more flubs.
Yes, but I mean, in my defense, I have not watched the movie yet, so
yeah.
I probably won't make that mistake after I see the movie, but maybe I will. You don't know. You're going to have to tune in and listen.
That's right. A little teaser. Tune in.
Yeah. So that's about it.
Tune in for more flubs and bloopers.
Yep.
Later, guys.
So, bye.
Bye.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer, Frank Kablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.